Good afternoon and welcome to 𝗓𝗏 Presents AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by 𝗓𝗏 and Middle East AI News, part of 𝗓𝗏 Presents AI Week. Ahlan wa sahlan. I'm Carrington Malin, and this is our second live show of this week. I'll be hosting AI Lunchtime Live from Monday to Friday this week from 𝗓𝗏's new offices in ADGM from 12 noon to 2 p.m. daily. During the 𝗓𝗏 Presents week, we'll be shining a light on how AI is being used today to improve lives, increasing efficiency, simplifying complex tasks, raising customer service levels, reducing waste, and making roads, buildings, schools, workplaces, and industrial facilities safer. We're inviting leaders from technology, business, and education to join us this week to talk about how AI is changing lives, including representatives from 𝗓𝗏, core42, Microsoft, Analog, Mohammed bin Zayed University for Artificial Intelligence, and many more. And today we've got three great guests. We're going to be talking to 𝗓𝗏 CEO, 𝗠𝗶𝗱𝗆𝗀 Pramotedhan. And we'll be hearing also from Sam Vaughan, VP of Special Projects for another G42 group company, core42. And final guest on today's show will be 𝗁𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗆𝗏, Chief Partnership Officer at Microsoft and responsible for driving the Microsoft G42 Global Alliance. So lots to look forward to there. Look forward to introducing you to our first guest, 𝗠𝗶𝗱𝗆𝗀 Pramotedhan, in a few minutes. So welcome again to AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by 𝗓𝗏 and Middle East AI News. We'll be streaming live from 𝗓𝗏's offices in Abu Dhabi all this week from 12 till 2, talking about how AI technologies are being used today to improve lives, business, government, and education. Thanks very much for joining. If you're new to Middle East AI News, Middle East AI News is a top source for news and insight on how artificial intelligence and other cutting-edge technologies are transforming the Middle East. We're delighted to partner with 𝗓𝗏 to bring you 𝗓𝗏 Presents AI Week and AI Lunchtime News. Let me tell you a little bit about 𝗓𝗏. Based in Abu Dhabi, 𝗓𝗏 is a leading global big data analytics and AI company powered by Gen AI, tackling some of the 21st century's biggest challenges and helping to enable lifelong human advancement. Part of the G42 group of companies and listed on Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange, ADX, 𝗓𝗏 is having a phenomenal year. The company currently does business across 4 continents and last month announced record financial results for the first half of 2025, revenue topping 1 billion dirhams, that's about $300 million, and showing 80% year-on-year growth. So I can't wait to bring 𝗓𝗏's CEO on. If you just joined, you're listening to 𝗓𝗏 Presents AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by 𝗓𝗏 and Middle East AI News. And every day this week, we'll be shining a light on how AI is being used to improve lives and discussing technology behind the magic. And if you're looking for details on this show and upcoming shows, you'll find them on the Middle East AI News website, www.middleeastainews.com, where we have a 𝗓𝗏 Presents landing page with today's schedule and other details and live stream links. And in a few minutes, I'll be welcoming our first guest, 𝗠𝗶𝗱𝗆𝗏𝗆𝗏 Pramotedhan, so don't go away. Then at 12:30, we're going to do a quick rundown of the latest AI news headlines from around the region. And about 12:40, I'll be talking to Sam Vaughan, VP of Special Projects at core42, the UAE's powerhouse behind enterprise and sovereign AI. And a little bit later, about 10 minutes past 1, we're going to be joined by 𝗁𝗏 𝗏𝗏𝗆𝗏𝗆𝗏, Chief Partnerships Officer at Microsoft, to talk about the G42 Microsoft Global Alliance. If you just joined, you're listening to 𝗓𝗏 Presents AI Lunchtime Live. We've got a stellar lineup of guests this week. Just to mention a few, we'll be kicking off tomorrow's show with Dr. 𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗆, Chief Operating Officer of 𝗓𝗏. So we have 𝗓𝗏 CEO this morning on this morning's show, and we have 𝗓𝗏 COO on tomorrow morning. Tuesday, we'll also be talking to world-famous AI expert and influencer Steve Norrie. So if you're a subscriber to Steve's newsletter like I am, then you won't want to miss our discussion tomorrow afternoon. And this week, we're going to tackle a very broad range of issues on topics such as how AI is helping governments deliver better and easier services to the public, how AI is transforming energy, the energy sector, and how mixed reality and AI are fusing together to make our cities smarter. If you want to find out more details, as I mentioned, just check out MiddleEastAInews.com website, www.middleeastainews.com. As I mentioned, later today, we're talking to Sam Vaughan from 𝗠𝗶𝗱𝗆𝗀𝗀 and Microsoft's 𝗫 𝗨𝗃. Right now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our first guest, Thomas Promotoden, 𝗫𝗏 CEO. And 𝗫𝗏, the big data analytics and AI company, as I mentioned, listed on ADX, ticker symbol simply 𝗫𝗏. And this year, the company reported a $1 billion first half revenue, roughly $300 million, with an 80% year-on-year growth, which was attributed to the rapid international expansion and also strong domestic market growth. So it's not only an interesting company, it's a very successful company as well, an exporter of UAE technology. So delighted to be able to talk to Thomas today. Thomas is a digital transformation leader who has supported and driven government smart city initiatives globally over many years. And he moved to the UAE 2021 to join the then recently formed 𝗫𝗏. And prior to this, he was CEO of 𝗬𝗐 Singapore, a subsidiary of Environmental Systems Research Institute, which of course is a global leader in geographic information systems. As 𝗫𝗏 CEO, he's presided over accelerating growth and overseas expansion. Year-on-year revenue growth jumped from 17% last year in H1 to H1 this year was 80% revenue growth, which is actually astounding. Well, absolute revenue actually nearly doubled. This is backed up with all-round progress across the company and expanded global footprint. And if I could just ask Thomas to come and join us now. Warm welcome to Middle East AI News Live.
Very good. We're having AI for lunch.
Yes, absolutely. Thomas, thanks so much for joining us today. Just move a little bit over here. Thanks for the partnership, 𝗫𝗏 and Middle East AI News. 𝗫𝗏's our strategic partner and has helped us develop and expand the platform. And then we've got this wonderful week this week where we're partnering to bring AI Lunchtime live, and 𝗫𝗏 presents AI Week. So thanks very much for all of that. Nice to have you here.
Well, I think for everyone listening in, thank you very much for having us. And many of us would know that he's the source of many of our Middle Eastern AI news. And we subscribe to the newsletter. We are definitely proud to be a partner. I'm sure me and the viewers and my colleagues all tune in quite acutely to the news that you put out. So thank you for being here and spending the week with us in the office.
Thank you. And thanks again for making the time today on AI Lunchtime Live. Now to business. There's a big announcement from 𝗫𝗏 today. You've announced a $100 million AI fund together with Shahrouk to invest in startups globally that are focused on AI. It's the first corporate fund of its type in the region. And let's hope it's not the last. I think there's room for a lot of corporate involvement in the AI ecosystem and startup scene. So it's good to see that. And this is more than just a pure venture capital offer. Let's talk about this. And first of all, how does this fund fit into 𝗫𝗏's strategy? Because obviously 𝗫𝗏 is known for delivering platforms for particularly government, but also other large enterprises that are leveraging Gen AI and making life easier for everybody. Where does a $100 million AI fund fit in?
I believe the first thing we need to look at, like your point, this is the first corporate fund of its nature. It's not a traditional venture capital fund, because this fund brings not just capital, it brings infrastructure, which is the UAE compute, and you bring the diversity of the markets that 𝗫𝗏 has. There are many funds today that is launched, and 100 million will go somewhere, but there are much larger funds out there pursuing the AI ecosystem. Where we differentiate ourselves is really, can we identify emerging AI solutions company that are riding this wave, but delivering solutions that will make a difference to the end users itself. We launched this in parallel, very closely associated to the accelerator program that you're familiar with. At the start in April, when we launched the accelerator program, we had 115 companies, over 17 countries that applied. We picked 10 in the first cohort. In the 10, we had companies from the UAE, US, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Indonesia, Singapore. It shows the true global nature of not 𝗡𝘳, but the UAE AI ecosystem drawing innovative companies into the country. The fund was launched, so it allows us to do two things. One, in the accelerator program, we are able to try, test before you buy. When you buy, you can tap on the fund. The fund itself partnered now with 𝗍𝗏. 𝗍𝗏 is a leading Middle Eastern VC. I mean, they are the first to get a license out of the ADGM. They are multiple award winner for best investors. That gut and instinct they have in looking at startups matched with 𝗡𝘳's corporate framework, our access to market, supported by the UAE ecosystem of infrastructure, talent. You met my colleagues over yesterday. You're going to meet more of them over the next week. This is the collection of support and ecosystem that we're bringing to the fund, and therefore bringing to the companies who want to scale, the AI companies who want to scale at the global level. It's different because it's not just about capital. It's about strategic capital with intent and the commitment from the ecosystem to take these companies to really make changes with what AI can bring to the community.
So this is a global fund, which is an important distinction. So you're open to startup investments around the world?
Absolutely. Well, Abu Dhabi has become a global platform, and 𝗡𝘳 is now a global AI and big data analytics company. The accelerator reached out to multiple countries. So this is in line with how UAE has positioned itself as a global voice in developing and leading AI development. It's not just infrastructure. I mean, we talk a lot about infrastructure. I think you talk about Stargate with my colleagues yesterday. It's about creating a framework of infrastructure, talent, solutions, and then overseen by a leadership of a country that wants to adopt it. So the whole AI native government drives and supports the ecosystem. And in Dubai, the 50 chief AI officers took a field trip to meet the major tech firms in the US. It is that continuous investment in the entire ecosystem that gives 𝗡𝘳 the platform to do what we do today. And the venture capital fund that we launched with 𝗍𝗏 is one example of it, but it's one that supports a wider modality of work that we're doing in the AI space.
So this has got an overall future potential benefit for bringing AI companies to the Abu Dhabi ecosystem and to the UAE. There's also a sort of more selfish interest from 𝗡𝘳 that you could perhaps leverage some of these technologies that are being developed by startups, and you're looking for breakthrough technology, aren't you?
Absolutely. It would be impossible to say that we could do all innovation on our own. And I'll bring it back to the Startup Accelerator program. We launched it through a bootcamp. We invited the 10 co-founders and founders of the startups into Abu Dhabi for a 3-day association with the ecosystem. They met the G42 ecosystem. They met the clients. They met the partners that make UAE such a drive for being a capital for AI. In turn, they walked off with leads, locally, regionally, that they could convert in the next period of time. I think that's the true difference. Of course, selfishly, we are a for-profit company. We need to look at being able to develop innovation. We need to be able to access innovation at the best economical value. So the accelerator is one, the VC fund is the second. And then having that, you need to fold it back into the portfolio of solutions and companies we have to drive revenue that's accretive. AIQ drew accretive revenue in the energy sector. We hope to find another company or another few companies that do that. So there's a collection of the accelerator, the fund itself, and the draw of Abu Dhabi that we hope to find innovation, at the same time investing in our own R&D capabilities.
Great. And that you're certainly setting up those companies to win by having the exposure to those customers and contacts and the integration with 𝗡𝘳.
I think maybe because I'm old school, so there's two parts of it. Today, the AI valuations of companies are, of course, exorbitantly expensive, and it's hard to discern between them. And some of them are magnificent, some of them may not survive. The key part of it is if you're developing AI solutions and you are able to take it to the market, and when the rubber hits the road, you're able to make revenue out of it. And I think revenue paying customers, so paying customers are the best validation to a solution it can do. It's difficult if you simply start a fund and do it at seed because there's no operating foundation and capability like Presight to support that. Because we have that is unique. We're able to identify, make a bet, test not whether we think it's good, whether our clients feel that it's a good company and good solution that will improve the work they're doing. And then thereafter, we can make better and more decent investments around that space. So that's really the thesis of the fund itself. It will focus on sectors that's accretive to us. So public sector, the government space, energy, financial services. With what we've done with the joint venture with Central Bank quite recently, we need innovation in that space. Smart cities, which are familiar what we do. At the same time, we tap on Shuruk's philosophy of bringing new, young seed stage companies, where they often bet on the gut, they bet on the quality of the founders. It's a muscle group that Presight doesn't have. It's a thinking that we don't have. Yeah. But when you combine those two together, I believe that combination between Presight and Shuruk will allow us to really find the up and coming companies. And because we take them at the early seed stage, we should be able to get into the works with them, work their journey of growth, open up the growth markets in the region, and then hopefully we get a couple of success stories from there.
Sounds like a great combination. So you mentioned seed stage. Is this squarely aimed at seed stage startups, or are you being more flexible on?
I think right now for the Presight Shuruk Fund 1, we've described it is targeted at seed and pre-seed, pre-series A for sure.
Okay.
But it's two different, because if you look at us as an ecosystem, so our fund will look at seed, pre-seed, and so forth. And when we find something that is meaningful, that's impactful, we have the Abu Dhabi ecosystem. This is the capital of capital. And within our ecosystem, we have MGX, who can write much larger tickets for more mature companies. There is a large ADGM network that we are all part of that can support that. So I believe finding quality and good investments, right, through a bit of a trial and testing phase that Presight can provide, is going to be able to unlock this capital, no matter what stage it's at.
Absolutely, makes perfect sense. And Presight is now an amazing company to associate with if you're a new AI startup. I mean, you couldn't really choose a better partner, could you?
Well, I think Presight has been very blessed to be associated with Abu Dhabi and the G42 ecosystem. And that is really what will draw the startups here. If you look at the conversation with where AI innovation is going, of course, you have US, you have China, but I think undoubtedly UAE is the third voice, right? And I think there's no better place if you're an AI company and you want to grow in multiple markets and you want to really test it, this is a place to be. The G42 ecosystem, Presight as a brand, as a company, supported by the wider UAE AI drive, that is what's going to draw the companies to here. And of course, we were just discussing with another group, the livability of being in the UAE. It's just a wonderful place to be. Abu Dhabi is the safest city, 10th year running. And Presight's a proud provider to the platform that supports that. So we're really pleased.
Agree. So this is a phenomenal year for Presight. We're just nearing the end of the third quarter, so of course no results to talk about, but you announced some fantastic results in the H1 and the massive increase in growth and the acceleration and your expansion across 4 continents and the announcements this year from Kazakhstan, Albania, this week from Azerbaijan.
Yes.
So it looks like the stars have really aligned for Presight. Just taking us a little while back, how do you think you got there with the hindsight? And is this what is it a direct result of? And I know some of the answers, but I want to hear it from
we have been in past conversations at the early start of it, and we saw how our international revenue grew. We were 2% the year we listed, and then 23% last year. And we're tracking towards 35%. One of the key components, of course, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. So we're supported by the UAE AI ecosystem, by affiliation to the group, by the fact that we independently listed. The second part of it is, it's the strategy that we put in place, right? We know that it's not a straight line between A to Z. We have taken all the bumps. But the fact is, we said one international expansion was key. and then how we expanded internationally. We've always had the privilege of being a Emirati-based digital transformation company. We are the largest net exporter of Emirati solutions, supported by an ecosystem that drives and expands UAE's reach across the region. Second, develop and invest into this market. So Kazakhstan was one that started as a project. Now the regional HQ of Central Asia is in Kazakhstan. We're proud to have 55 Kazakh colleagues in the country developing not just the smart cities for Astana, projects for the oil and gas, where we helped launch the first AI cluster. I think it's that continuous path on internet expansion that you need to land, you need to earn trust, be a partner, and then you need to invest in the country that is helping us do this expansion. Secondly, the results is cumulative. I think we're in our 10th quarter, and when H1 came out, of really announcing growth, right? And it layers upon itself. And we have always spoken to the investor community, to just general people at large who are interested in Presight, that as you observe what we do year on year, you should be able to see the layering that we've done, right? So our first project in Kazakhstan, a first discussion in Azerbaijan. Last week, we signed the digital transformation agreement, AI initiatives with the Ministry of Digital and AI for Education, the Ministry of Education. Then with that, you're going to observe the next news, the launch of AI tutor for the ministry. And then you see the announcement of Azerbaijani office. So everyone layers up into. I think it's a marathon that Presight needs to get into, not a sprint. At the same time, we keep a strong order book of the revenues that we post. The financials are healthy. The cash balances are healthy. Build innovative initiatives like the accelerator, the venture capital fund to keep an eye on innovation, but continue to develop a strong local presence as well as international presence. And locally, we have expanded quite broadly across many sectors. You've seen us announce our work with Department of Energy. You've seen us announce our work with the Ministry of Education. We continue to diversify the work that we're doing. We did a partnership with Abu Dhabi Police. We are now the joint venture partner of Central Bank. So to develop that trusted digital and AI partner credentials is what we strongly believe in. We're a big believer of partnership, which is why the fund is a partnership with Shuruk, because we know where we do not have strength in, we can partner with someone, and then collectively, where the values are aligned, we get to achieve. And I believe this is the strategic impetus that will drive our growth forward in the years to come.
Makes a lot of sense. So that layered strategy really helps to build trust over a period of time, and then that provides you with a springboard to do so much more. And you touched on this before, but can I also ask you, where does brand UAE fit in this, and how much of that business do you find is easier or is more enthusiastic to work with you because they recognize what the UAE is doing with AI?
I think it's an incredible asset. The UAE Inc. as a whole, not just in AI. UAE Inc. in AI, I think it's a big platform and a big push for what we can achieve. But UAE as a leadership in its smart cities, in renewable energy, and what ADNOC is doing for energy and AI for energy, I think UAE as a brand is super strong. And then if you look at the particular sectors of AI that we're in, what we have done with the first world most advanced Arabic large language model, familiar with J. We continue to develop the Kazakh model. We dropped off the Hindu model. We launched K2 Think, the most efficient reasoning model. We have Stargate, the large investment between Stargate and the AI UAE US partnership. That's a 5 gigawatt facility and AI cluster outside the US. You have companies like G42 and Presight. This in its whole, and when it moves, that's the UAE brand. And the multiple other institutions, university you're going to talk to, the other institution that drives AI. Our Ministry of AI has been around since 2017.
Yeah.
We had a brief conversation about that. That collectively is what puts UAE in the forefront.
It's now part of the UAE's brand, isn't it? It is part of the UAE's brand. So when you see government and business leaders in other countries that you're doing business, do you find that recognition is there before you even start talking?
Absolutely. I think the leadership of the UAE has been the frontmost spokesperson and ambassadors of where AI is going, from His Highness Sheikh Taknoon to Minister Omar, who is the AI minister, and the multiple conversations that we're having. The difference is this. It's not just us going to the world, but you see the world coming here. right? So we've seen Microsoft come in here, OpenAI, Sam's been to the country, Jensen's been here. So major techs coming to the UAE because that's where the epic center is, especially in this region of growth.
You're growing fast on many levels. So international expansion is now growing very fast. Domestic market is also growing very fast. Your product portfolio, I think, is also expanding quite fast. And even your sort of lines of business activities, adding the startup focus there is growing very fast. This seems to be runaway growth and expansion across every aspect of your business. How is that? How do you manage that and keep the train on the track? Because it's an awful lot to different things moving at the same time.
Well, I think two things you brought out. So even internally, we've said like the train's moving, get on it. We told the team. The good thing about trains is they're tracks, and the tracks are laid by people with at least some forward-looking guidance to it. So I think making sure the track leads to the destination, right, is the first thing. You must have tracks. So without tracks, we're going to go. I wouldn't say run away, because it's been layered up. So it's not something that you're spiked. So we're trying to avoid what's a runaway, but sustainable growth across time. Second, it's the pace of this era of AI, right? And what we're trying to do with the accelerator, with the VC fund, with our business, is to make sure that we can drive it as fast as the momentum is going, but at the same time keeping it very real. So the whole philosophy about where is this AI applied? Like who's going to use it? How is it going to make a change to your kids, to me, to organizations? I think that's key, because if you look at the adoption, the use cases that drive impact. So ADNOC will launch energy AI for improving seismic analysis, for shortening upstream operations. With the police, we want to improve investigation through AI native solutions. Our AI policing suite was one of that. With Department of Energy, we want to look at from electrons to consumption and really understand the distribution of energy, because that's a big conversation today. Where the rubber hits the road, where applied artificial intelligence and technology can make change, that's what drives the business. And then there's all the exciting stuff that comes, in and out of it. And you just need to normalize exactly where it's going to be, and then keep your focus on delivering some of that.
And so now with these new startup initiatives, that's adding more to your pipeline for innovation and potentially more technology and new breakthrough concepts that you can add in future. So that makes perfect sense.
Yes. So, hopefully the startups that we find, a lot of them we keep one eye on whether we could add it to the portfolio. So as part of the solution, it may not be the whole solution. It may be a component of it, right? So a smart city solution will require very smart, for instance, traffic management that comes into that place of it. That's a component that can add in. Energy will require maybe even deeper seismic analysis, which is a company we're looking in Azerbaijan that will add on to AIQ's portfolio. So is that consistent? Question is like, okay, it's fantastic, it's innovative. Where can it apply to us? Right? Not to say that we won't take bets, right? And that is why the accelerator, we pick companies that are very much accretive to us, and you've seen that in the cohort. And then the VC allow us to do both. Take some bets, the latest voice AI module that can really change and control interfaces. Maybe that's one thing we can go to, and really depends on the latest reasoning model that's been implemented onto your phone, which in turn may help me with my policing suite, may help me with our smart city or enterprise suite. So really keeping that discipline to make sure that it is accretive to us as a corporate fund, the way you describe it, is key to that.
Great. Thank you very much. So we're going to round off in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to ask you about the big US news of the day, which is...
Which one? There's been one every day.
It's hard to keep up, which is NVIDIA's $100 billion investment in OpenAI. And they know how to fundraise, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But I think I had a conversation with Jumana this morning on Bloomberg, and they put like, 𝗶𝗆 says OpenAI and NVIDIA investment is exciting, right? And that came out in the super. And I think that's the truth. One, OpenAI and NVIDIA, they're such close partners to the UAE and what we're doing. Second, what you're starting to see is between the software algorithm developers the infrastructure developers and is starting to cross-support each other, right? I think that's a big sign of a belief that where the AI era will take us.
Yeah.
Right. So if you look at that as what they're doing is exciting, you look at what we're doing in the UAE, similar. We're investing in the infrastructure, right? Same groups own 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃𝗏, which is in the software. We drive big partnerships with Oracle, NVIDIA, Microsoft, OpenAI. So seeing them not just in the UAE but getting together, vested in the entire drive for where AI is going to go, it's really exciting, and it's a proof that we're all in the right trajectory.
I think it also makes a lot more sense post Stargate announcements, doesn't it? Now we know Stargate's real and it's actually happening, and the UAE is the first global Stargate. Now that NVIDIA $100 billion, you can see where that's going, what the use of that is, and
yeah, I think absolutely UAE is becoming not just a leader in the adoption of AI in country, right? What we're doing with Stargate and infrastructure, the leadership's thinking is really to create the intelligence grid. I'm sure you spoke to my colleagues about it, and the ability to create the different nodes around the world. So in the US, in Europe, in the UAE. But the key thing is to be able to flow intelligence, not the infrastructure, but to create intelligence you need to drive applications to the betterment of society. And it's not the infrastructure, because every infrastructure that we jump onto it, when we spoke about this, it takes time. You get the investment, it still takes time. Right? But because we are ready with the infrastructure, we can consume units of intelligence. We describe it as electricity, but really, if you could unitize intelligence to outcomes that you could buy, that you could improve, you want to improve a GDP by 10%, how much unit of intelligence would you get? Then you wouldn't be talking about data centers or infrastructure. You'll talk about what do I need to drive my economy forward, my business better. And I think that's really where it is. Right. So being an intelligence grid, UAE being an intelligence factory that can export intelligence, as the new resource, I think that's really where the conversations will head towards.
Great. Thank you again for joining us today on AI Lunchtime Live. It's been a real pleasure. It's been very interesting, and I'm sure that a lot of people learned a lot more about 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 as a result. So
yeah, we learned a lot more about Middle East AI news. So thanks for having us.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good afternoon. You're watching 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Presents AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Middle East AI News, part of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Presents AI Week. And of course, we're streaming every day until Friday with AI Lunchtime Live from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's new offices in ADGM in Abu Dhabi from 12 noon to 2 p.m. UAE time every day. And we're also going to be bringing you little snippets of news and a news update on what's going on around the region. So here's your daily Middle East AI News Roundup for Tuesday, September 23rd. Something we just touched on right now. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and 𝗏𝗏𝗏 announced a $100 million AI fund. Abu Dhabi-based 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has joined forces with investment firm 𝗏𝗏𝗏 to launch a $100 million global AI innovation fund. The 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Fund 1 will back startups focusing on early stage seed globally, targeting sectors from smart cities to energy, fintech, Industry 4.0 and deep tech. Beyond capital, the portfolio companies will gain access to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's cloud GPU infrastructure and also customers and international network. And Couple that with Shuruk's global investor network across the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia, it's something quite interesting. Meanwhile, in Saudi Arabia, Modon will establish an AI Center for Excellence in Industrial Cities. In Riyadh this week, Modon, the Saudi Authority for Industrial Cities and Technology Zones, has signed a tripartite agreement with ASAS and Takwin IT to establish an AI Center for Excellence for Industrial Cities. And the new center will accelerate digital transformation, improve operational efficiency, and create advanced AI solutions, aligning with Saudi Arabia's national industrial strategy. And Arab youth want to see more investment in Arabic AI. These are the results of a new survey. New research across 10 Arab markets from Ipsos shows youth are proud of their Arabic identity, ambitious for creative careers, and cautiously optimistic about AI. 3 out of 4 believe that Arabic technology and Arabic AI should be priority sectors for investment. And if you just joined, you're listening to Presight Presents AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by Presight and Middle East AI News. And you've been listening to my, no, you haven't been listening to my interview with him at all. You've just been listening to my interview with Presight CEO Thomas Promotoden. But next we're going to hear from Samuel Vaughan, VP of Special Projects for G42's AI cloud company Core42. In common with so many Core42 people, Sam has been very busy during the last week, and I spoke to him a few days ago to record an interview for today. Sam is responsible for regional and global partnerships at Core42, which is expanding internationally. Before joining Core42, Sam held leadership roles in finance, strategy, commercial operations, and telecom sector, including CFO position at Tesco Mobile, a series of senior positions with O2 and Telefonica in the UK and Germany. And with more than 15 years of experience, he brings a strong background in finance and commercial strategy to Core42, combining his sharp focus with technology partnerships. So at Core42, Sam now plays a key role in shaping international growth and ensuring customers have access to both sovereign and non-sovereign AI and cloud services, building partnerships to support that. So we caught up with Sam remotely a few days ago to find out more about Core42's partnerships and his busy role. Welcome to AI Lunchtime Live. Thanks very much for making the time to join us. We've got a lot to talk about and can't wait to ask you lots of questions about Core42. First off, I'd like to dive straight in and start talking about what Core42 actually does, because I think your perspective on Core42 depends on what it means to you and whether you do business with Core42. So give us a broad summary of what Core42's business is today and what that portfolio of products and services looks like.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Real pleasure to be here. Fantastic to be able to speak about Core. But before I do that, let me just talk about maybe G42, just to put Core42 into the context of the broader group that we have here. So G42 is involved across the AI stack, whether it's building the data centers, building the infrastructure, building and developing the models, and then building the applications across various different verticals and industries. So if we go to Core42 specifically, so Core42 is really focused on the digital infrastructure piece. So we are building deployments worldwide, not only in the UAE, and we're looking to really be at the forefront of the AI and the digital transformation across both the UAE, but also make the UAE a regional hub in terms of how do we really lead and drive the AI strategies that will lead from here. If we talk about our portfolio of products, we have our compute products, which is the GPUs. We have our sovereign cloud products that we are very proud of here in the UAE, and working with government and enterprise across the UAE in terms of how can we really support them with sovereign cloud products. We have a professional and managed service business as well. And so we're helping not only in providing the infrastructure, but also providing our clients and our customers support in terms of how do they really leverage the benefits of cloud, digital, and AI infrastructure. So it's an exciting time. It's an exciting business to be in.
Absolutely. Very exciting. So just to go back through that in a slightly different way. So what do those products and services mean to customers? What are the customer needs that you serve by offering those?
Yeah, so if we go to cloud, so we had some investment in our G42 business last year from Microsoft, and we are a partner of theirs in terms of how do we leverage Microsoft Azure across the UAE. The transformation to cloud from servers that are on-premise or under desks into the cloud environment is not a new thing for much of the world and for much of the industry. So we're really looking to help drive that transformation within the UAE and move people to our Microsoft Azure service.
So Sam, if I could just ask you that question in a slightly different way and ask you what customers come to you for and what are the customer needs that portfolio of services provides for?
Yeah, great question. Customers come with various use cases. The first being the transition from moving their infrastructure into the cloud. There are clear benefits in terms of spend profiles, the security, the efficiency that their organizations are able to derive from the products and services that come out of the cloud environment. So that would be one of the common approaches that we get from customers. And then as customers are looking to leverage AI and the AI models that are proliferating, they want to work with us in terms of how they get access to the compute to power the models and the use cases that they're building within their businesses. But they also come to us for support and guidance and consultancy service around professional services and then managed services about how do they really extract the most value from their cloud or from their AI cloud transformations that they're going on.
Now, Core42 manages some very powerful computer systems and provides huge amounts of compute for clients. And I know you have many critical partnerships that are involved in providing services to your clients, and in that's tech stack. And on the infrastructure side, that includes many big cutting edge AI infrastructure names. Could you walk us through your tech stack and where your partner ecosystem fits in, and then how you structure things with those partners?
Yeah, so look, where Core42 differs to perhaps some of the other AI cloud businesses or neo cloud providers that are out there in the market is that Core42 prides itself on a heterogeneous offer. So we don't offer just one exclusive type of GPU or silicon. We work across the stack. So we have many very important strategic partnerships, both whether they be the GPU providers or whether they be the OEMs who are helping us build, execute, deploy the infrastructure. And then we have some partners that are vitally important to helping us go to market so that we can really get the reach both nationally and internationally to support the AI rollout, the adoption, the opportunity, and really be able to push that economically, scalably, and as far and wide as possible. So across the stack of GPU providers, OEMs, and go to market, we have critical partners across those different areas.
Right. You partner with AMD, Cerebras, NVIDIA, and also Microsoft and Oracle.
Yes, we have a number of very important strategic relationships with all of the names that you've talked about and more. I mean, clearly Microsoft are also not only a very important partner of ours, but they're also a shareholder. And then across the ones that you didn't talk about, the Qualcomms, the Dells, the HPEs, the WWTs, we work with a large number of those partners and really focusing on how we can leverage more mutual win-win and value generative situations out of all of those partnerships moving forward.
So with that breadth and depth of partnerships, that must give your customers a great deal of choice in what they run and where they run it.
Yeah, look, we're here to be the customer champion. Like I said, we're not exclusive to any one provider, but we work very closely with a number of providers to be able to provide and tailor the right customer solutions based on their budgets, their needs, the specific outcomes that they're trying to deliver through the engagements that they have with us, and then how we have them with our partners. And that sometimes will be focused just in the UAE, or sometimes that will be focused in the US or Europe or Asia, worldwide. You know, we're also partnering in the global south, trying to support and roll out digital infrastructure and support the AI transformation and economic value opportunity as far and wide as possible.
Core42 has talked a lot about sovereignty over the past year, and certainly this is something that's much higher on the agenda than it was 2-3 years ago, particularly with regard to AI. And you provide sovereign and non-sovereign solutions. So could you explain basically what makes your sovereign solutions truly sovereign and why people would perhaps not want sovereign solutions?
Yeah, so like sovereignty, I was reading a publication that was talking about 50% of all public workloads will be on sovereign cloud in the coming years. So we're definitely seeing a huge appetite, both nationally and internationally, for sovereign cloud that is compliant with the local legislation and regulation, can work with the languages of the region. So we're seeing a huge appetite for that in the UAE, but also across the other regions that we're working as well. So we have a number of different partners and products that help us deliver sovereign services, and we will continue to strengthen and make sure we're compliant and secure as we develop our product roadmap moving forward as well.
And a lot of those services are, and particularly the compute and GPU services, are the fastest or among the fastest available in the world today, aren't they?
Yeah, look, compute is moving, the GPU power and efficiency is moving at light speed. So we are deploying technology all the time, new chips with higher performance technologies that are coming out. So it's very much an arms race. You can't stand still in this industry, but we continue to deploy the latest and greatest technology, both in the UAE and worldwide, as part of how do we provide the right choice, and the right economics, and the right compute that's going to be able to deliver what our customers need.
And increasingly that is globally, isn't it?
Yes, so we have a number of infrastructure products in the UAE. I think we saw the announcement back in Q2 when President Trump came and we talked about the Stargate opportunity and what that was going to mean in terms of the 5 gigawatt AI campus that was going to be deployed in Abu Dhabi. We have a model of that in our office, and every time we see our strategic partners, we show them the model, and it's hard to quite fathom the scale of what that project's going to deliver. So in the first section of that model that we show to our partners, you can fit the Palm Jumeirah in it, which for me is crazy because I can think about how long it takes me to drive down the Palm sometimes. So to be able to fit that in the first section of our model is quite humbling, to be honest, like the scale of what we're deploying in the UAE. And as you said, internationally, we have deployments in the US that are going live, future deployments going live as we speak. And we have deployments that are going live in Europe. And we have aspirations for deployments beyond Europe and a number of partners that help us serve client demand worldwide as well. So not only do we deploy our own capacity, but we partner with other data center providers as well to be able to meet our customers' needs globally.
Wow. So you must be an extremely busy man.
Yes. I came here, so my background is I spent 17 years in telco. I've been here 12 months. And I always said when I was in telco that I missed the hypergrowth phase of telco. And I always wished that I'd been in telco maybe 15 years before when we were at hypergrowth. And I came to Abu Dhabi, I came to the UAE, I came to Core42 to be part of something that I knew was going to be pretty special. Phases is challenging. So all the things that I wished for in the last period of my career in telecoms, I'm getting all of the reality of the craziness that comes with that. But it's a fantastic challenge to have and something that we're really enjoying at Core42 and within the strategic partnerships team as well.
Yes, and Core42 is nothing if it's not hypergrowth. The number of announcements that have been made this year on infrastructure projects around the world from the G42 group is astounding for a group that's only been around a few years, really, and is in some of the biggest infrastructure projects and services projects in the world. And you're right in the center of that, aren't you?
Yeah, like everybody that comes to the UAE, I think always have been briefed that G42 is the right destination to start their conversations when it comes to AI and how we can partner and work with everyone that's got an appetite to both work in the Gulf region and beyond. So that's quite humbling, the people that you meet from huge organizations that want to partner with G42 and Core42. And there's a role for everybody within the ecosystem. It's just about how do we deliver value quickly and be able to drive the right return on investment for the level of investment that we're making in this infrastructure. So plenty of opportunity, very exciting, and we are working very hard to extract all the value that we can from those conversations and the opportunity that's here in the UAE.
Excellent. I think we're almost out of time. If you've got any final comment on Core42 or your role, then definitely interested in hearing that.
Yeah, look, we talked about it. Core42 is a hugely ambitious company, as is G42. And we firmly believe that the only way of being able to deliver against that hyper-growth strategy that we have is to partner fantastically with the key partners in the industry and have the right conversations, sometimes good and sometimes quite challenging. But I think we're focused on creating the right win-win environment for Core42 and our partners and G42 to really be able to exploit the opportunity that we see here in the UAE internationally. We'll continue to move at pace and looking forward to ITEX that's coming up and beyond as we look to drive the business forward.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us today on AI Lunchtime Live. Hope we'll talk again. This is AI Lunchtime Live. You've been listening to my interview with Sam Vaughan, VP of Special Projects from G42 cloud services company Core42. And if you missed any of that, you'll be able to watch my recording of the live show later this afternoon via LinkedIn and via YouTube. If you just joined us, you're watching Presight Presents AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by Presight and Middle East AI News and part of Presight Presents AI Week. Every day this week from until Friday. In fact, Middle East AI News is streaming AI Lunchtime Live from Presight's offices in ADGM, Abu Dhabi, 12 noon to 2 p.m. UAE time. And during the week, we'll be shining a light on AI and how AI is being used to improve lives. Earlier in the show, I was fortunate enough to talk with Thomas Promoteden, and we talked about the new $100 million AI Innovation Fund announced today in partnership with Shuruk. We also heard from Samuel Vaughan, VP of Special Projects from Core42 just now, and we talked about the company's global partnerships, technology stack, and how its ecosystem all comes together to support Core42's services and customers. We have a full week full of guests from G42 Group, HSBC, Microsoft, Analog, and many more. Coming up next, we have Sharif Taufeeq, Microsoft's Chief Partnership Officer, who's responsible for driving the global Microsoft G42 Alliance. Sharif has been leading one of the most significant collaborations in AI and cloud, with big implications for emerging markets and the wider global AI ecosystem. Let me also tell you a little bit about what's coming up during Presight Presents AI Week. This is a week full of programming organized by Abu Dhabi-based big data and AI and analytics company Presight. Each morning, you can listen to the special edition of Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye 103.8 FM from 6 till 10 UAE time. Then from 12 noon to 2 p.m. UAE time, you can watch AI Lunchtime Live with me, Middle East AI News. And from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., 𝗠𝗏 Radio 109.9 FM, continuing the AI Week theme. Make sure that you watch tomorrow's AI Lunchtime Live, which should start shortly after noon tomorrow. And on Wednesday's Lunchtime AI Live, we'll be talking to Presight Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Adil Al-Sharji, and Dennis Joel, CEO from energy-focused AI company AIQ. And we'll also be talking to our favorite Aussie AI expert, Steve Norrie. Later in the week, we'll have great interviews lined up with people such as Alex Kipman, former lead developer of the Microsoft HoloLens smart glasses project and now founder of Analog. So full AI week planned for you, AI Lunchtime Live. If you just joined us, this is Presight Presents AI Lunchtime Live, part of Presight Presents AI Week. And you can watch this on LinkedIn or via YouTube. And if you missed it earlier, there'll be a recording available later this afternoon. Now I'd like to introduce the next guest on AI Lunchtime Live, 𝗫𝗍𝗆 𝗨𝗡. He's the Microsoft Chief Partnership Officer responsible for driving and developing the Microsoft G42 Global Alliance. 𝗫𝗍𝗆 has been with Microsoft for more than 25 years, holding senior executive roles in the Middle East and Africa, Central Eastern Europe. April 2024, Microsoft announced a $1.5 billion investment in Abu Dhabi's G42, positioning the UAE as a global AI hub. 𝗫𝗍𝗆 now leads this alliance, driving joint commercial solutions across the Middle East, Africa, and other emerging markets. And his work focuses on enabling responsible AI adoption, sovereign cloud solutions, and economic growth with a mission to empower governments, enterprises, and startup ecosystems. I'll bring in 𝗫𝗍𝗆 𝗨𝗡. 𝗫𝗍𝗆, please come and join us. Have a seat. A very warm welcome to Middle East AI News Live, to the AI Lunchtime Live show. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Great to have you here to share more insights about Microsoft G42 Alliance. And I'm especially pleased about this because this was very big news last year. And I think we need to talk more about the G42 Microsoft Global Alliance this year. So perhaps we could just take a step back and look at what were the goals behind this, and how have we shaped this Microsoft G42 Alliance.
Thanks for having me. Definitely pleasure to be here. Privilege as well. Thanks, 𝗶𝗏, for hosting this show. To your point, maybe let's take a step back. Microsoft, one of the hyperscalers that we've been advocating for the adoption of public cloud. With hyperscalers come scale, meaning specifically in Microsoft, we do have above 70 regions worldwide where our hyperscale data center exists, 400 data centers. And because of the economies of scale, our Azure services is above 5,000 different services. With this come innovation at a scale that is unprecedented. But at the same time, customers been telling us, what about sovereignty? What about compliance? What about regulations? Asking questions like, who can see our data? Who operates those data centers? Who decides on the technology updates of those data centers? And who also fund the expansion of those data centers? How can I keep up with innovation, but at the same time, be compliant with my sovereign regulations? That's why we've been having those discussions over years now with G42. Can we allow customers to have both choices, keep up with innovation, but at the same time be compliant and be sovereign? And it was clear from the early discussions that the only way to keep up with innovation is the adoption of public cloud. You can't keep up with innovation building your own private clouds. So the discussion was how we can structure a partnership that provides regulated customers, starting in the UAE, but also internationally, the choice of both compliance, sovereignty, and adoption of public cloud for maximum innovation. And that was even more important in the age of AI, whereby there is a new model every other week, a new GPU, the pace of innovation and the scale of innovation that we've seen in AI is also unprecedented. So the principles of the partnership was, can we have a partnership whereby we combine the best of two worlds, the hyperscale innovation from Microsoft, but the sovereign understanding and the sovereign experience that G42 can provide, that can be the foundation of the intelligent grid, the full end-to-end solutions that the Group 42 companies bring to the table, and unblock the regulated customers in the UAE and take this to the world. So provide sovereign public cloud as well as an intelligent grid for regulated customers in the Middle East, in emerging markets, and even in developed markets as well. So 1.5 years or a bit more than that, we announced this investment into G42 We put a $1.5 billion. We have a seat on the board by Brad Smith. And because of this partnership, we allowed the following. Today, I lead a team of 70 people in Microsoft that are taking care of this partnership to do the following. To make sure that the Group 42 companies are adopting our public cloud to the latest of its innovation. Second, we build together actually IPs and software to take it to the world. Third, we go to market together and jointly expand into different countries, targeting specifically regulated customers for sure. And I think since then, there has been multiple announcements in this amazing country, starting with the fact that TAM today is running on top of Microsoft Azure. We've heard the genome sequencing project that is now powered by Microsoft Azure. We've seen things like board navigator solutions helping different board members to take faster decisions. Recently with Presight, we announced the Media Pulse IP and solution that is available on the Azure Marketplace. We've seen Energy AI with AIQ as well to empower ADNOC to create one of the first and unique use of large language model use cases within the energy sector. And I think there is a long list of other IPs that are, and software and solutions that are coming to the market that target regulated industries, achieve the power of AI while achieving the sovereign requirements that our partnership takes care of.
Yeah, so this is and I think this is maybe misunderstood or not understood by a lot of people. This is quite a deep partnership, and you have a big team that's responsible for driving this and deriving value for both parties.
Absolutely.
And I think there's probably a lot of people with the perception that this is a few signatures and some space on Azure, but it's not as simple as that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think first of all, being a shareholder in G42, like, even if it's a minority stake, still provides this skin in the game. There is a commitment towards this partnership to make it succeed. And to your point, having a significantly large team to live and breathe this partnership every day across different pillars of the partnership, which is basically making sure that they are adopting the latest and greatest solutions, building with them solutions, going to market, as well as selling, helping them unblocking certain customers through our relationships, because we sell together actually. And actually, there is also a force multiplier for this partnership. Because of this partnership, we announced the Abu Dhabi Development Center, whereby we have Microsoft engineers working on products that would be based here. We announced the Responsible AI Foundation, also based out of Abu Dhabi. And there is a synergetic effect here of getting more and more talent embedded within the ethos of this partnership. Possibly in the future, they may leave Microsoft, they may leave those centers, and then those people and those talent would set up their own companies, would work in other companies. So create this kind of manufacturing engine for talent that are embedded in the principles of this partnership, which is bringing intelligent grid and the latest innovation in AI to unblock markets like the UAE for sure, and help the UAE achieve its vision to be in 2027 to be the first fully native AI nation. So that's something also that this partnership is very keen to make sure it gets achieved.
I think this is very interesting because it's really an alliance of its time. And sovereign AI is obviously a big driver of this, and having that technology and that oversight. And nobody was screaming out for sovereign cloud 5 years ago.
Yes.
And so this is one part of the era that we're moving into, and also very timely and forward thinking.
Absolutely. I think people were achieving their sovereignty requirements by building their own private clouds.
Yeah.
And I think, but the moment AI got where it is today in terms of this intense scale of innovation, the hockey stick of people are not able to keep up, they discovered that they cannot keep up with that with the private cloud concept. So that's why the concept of if we want to keep up with innovation, we need public cloud, then the concept of sovereignty kicked in. That's because, yes, we would like to keep up with innovation for sure. That's a train that we would not want to miss. However, what about our sovereign requirements? And back to the technology enablement that hyperscalers like Microsoft got seriously invested to provide is how we can provide this concept of data sovereignty to different customers. And if you want to double click more in what exactly do we do that is unique and why G42 also chose Microsoft to partner with. When we look at data in a hyperscale environment, data has three states. There is data at rest, meaning the data is stored on hard drives or storage solutions, or data in transit. So data is moving from one location to another, one server to another, one region to another. And last but not least is data in use, meaning data in the current machine today, in the processor and in the RAM. Data at rest and data in transit always been relatively, I wouldn't say easy, but relatively understood how to secure. You protect them by encryption and you hold the key as a customer. And that's a technology that we as Microsoft provide to different customers. Get your own keys, encrypt the data, and store those own keys within hardware modules that you keep it in your own facility. So by that, you provide the assurance that data will not be decrypted because you hold the key when they are at rest, when the data is in rest or in transit. The problem that regulated customers would always come to the hyperscalers and say, what about data in use? You have people who have access to this machine, this server, this rack. They can go into the data center and maybe plug fancy cables and then crack the data, because while the data is in use, anyone who have physical access to the machine can break it. So the uniqueness of the technology stack that Microsoft provided, and that's why G42 chose Microsoft as well to partner with, is what we refer to as confidential compute, Azure confidential compute. Azure confidential compute with partnership with major processor vendors like Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA allows the ability to encrypt the data while it is in the processor and in the memory of this machine. So even someone with a physical access to that will not be able to break it. And that's the uniqueness, and that's why G42 chose Microsoft, because of the uniqueness of this technology, Azure confidential compute, that provides this assurance to provide complete data sovereignty across the three states, in use, in transit, and at rest.
And the most of the users for the sovereign cloud are government or regulated industries.
Absolutely.
Which means that responsible AI for Microsoft is now elevated in priority in this context, and also for G42. And I know G42 has got an extensive program of developing and implementing responsible AI.
Yes.
So how does that work from a Microsoft angle? And what has Microsoft been doing? And also, what has Microsoft been doing with G42?
So apart from the fact that we established the Responsible AI Center here in Abu Dhabi to make sure that the principles of responsible AI are achieved. And when you think, if you want to go back to the principles, there are 6 principles of responsible AI that we want to make sure that are achieved by design in our AI solutions. First is fairness. We want to make sure that the algorithms of AI is fair, meaning if there is a recruitment algorithm, you shouldn't be biased to a specific gender or a specific ethnicity because the data tells you that successful people within this specific position has been always part of a specific gender or ethnicity. So the backward-looking data may be skewed. So this shouldn't define the forward-looking decisions of AI. So AI needs to be fair. The second one is definitely reliability. The more we are using now AI you don't want to depend on something that will break from you. It works well in a demo and then it doesn't work in real life. The third one is safety. Now AI is being involved in medicine decisions. Autonomous cars will be all over the place, hopefully in the coming years. So we want to make sure that it operates safely to the people who are using it. The fourth one is privacy. Of course, you don't want to be, specifically regulated customers, you don't want to be embracing AI and then the data that is yours is training AI, and then this data leaks somehow to competitors or to other entities that you don't want the data to leak to. The fifth one is inclusivity. I think, and that goes back to one of the foundation of our partnership. When you think of when electricity was invented, over 100 years or something like that, like I think a couple of centuries, until now, there are 600 million people or more in Africa who do not have access to electricity. And that, I would say, is a crime. That despite electricity was invented centuries back, is still not accessible to hundreds of millions of people. We cannot do the same mistake with AI. That's why being inclusive to the underprivileged and underserved is crucial responsibility for those who are responsible of spreading the AI adoption. And last but not least is accountability. Who would be accountable when things go wrong? Is it the hyperscaler? Is it the large language model provider? Is it the regulator? Is it the actual application developer? Or the company that developed the software? So who's responsible? Who's accountable when things go wrong? That's another area that we want to make sure that it's clear, well regulated, and part of the principles of responsible AI.
And I believe the work that G42 is doing on responsible AI is borrowing from Microsoft's experience and your principles.
Complete partnership, complete synergy on that front.
And is that something your team is involved in as well, in sharing?
There are teams in Microsoft who are part of this center, actually, the AI, the Responsible AI Foundation. We also opened another, let's say, location for the AI for Good lab as well. So another one in Abu Dhabi. Lots of synergies are happening between our experts as well as G42, because it's a two-way partnership. So we equally learn from G42 as well, certain aspects on the local nuance, the local context, the local regulation. So it's very important to have this as a partnership of equal between both of us.
And this is a global partnership, isn't it? This is not specific to the UAE, and in light of the UAE Stargate project that is also, as its site said, on outside the UAE as well. This is something that's driving and supporting business globally.
Absolutely. So initially you had an aspiration that we switch the business, let's say, revenue or the business opportunity to be predominantly international. So like we start from the UAE and maybe reach 80% of our joint business from international customers. Definitely there is a focus on global South emerging markets for sure. That's a priority. But then there are also discussions that we look into the European market, specifically in the recent reaction to the European markets vis-a-vis geopolitics, and how the sovereign compliance and regulations is becoming much more important to the European countries, and hence having a partner in the middle like G42 can make sense, also not only expanding into emerging markets, but also developed markets in Europe.
Makes sense. You mentioned the AI for Good Center, and you mentioned the initiative Responsible AI. What's coming up next for the Microsoft G42 partnership? And if you can elaborate on the AI for Good and the Responsible AI initiative, that would be interesting.
Sure. I think more and more into making sure that we have broader range of IPs and solutions across the G42 companies for sure. G42 stands very unique in what they refer to as the intelligent grid. So working with each and every affiliate or business unit or company from G42 becomes unique on its own. The whole stack, starting from Khazna, they build data center. Core 42, they provide digital infrastructure on those data centers. Inception develops the large language models and the fine-tune on industry. CPX provide the cybersecurity layer on top of that. 𝗏𝗏sight and AIQ provides solutions across a very large span of industries, starting from government solutions, financial sector, sports, energy and oil and gas, Space 42, the geospatial, M42, the healthcare. So it's a very rich, diversified companies that would have a very different nature when you engage into different responsible AI or AI for good engagement with each and every company. It will have a very different nuance. Specifically on solutions that can tackle global needs, whether it's on sustainability, on education, on healthcare, on mental wellness. I think there is a huge opportunity for us to go deeper into those topics that will, first of all, the capability exists in companies like 𝗏𝗏sight for sure, but I think would achieve broader impact in terms of what would AI for good bring into those elements, specifically, as I mentioned, sustainability and climate change. I think another aspect of that is basically international. We mentioned that we want to make sure that the partnership keeps expanding into different international markets. High-level discussions happening in multiple countries in Africa today, South America, Central Asia, certain parts of Europe as well. So there is an international agenda for sure. And there is a deliberate effort to make sure that the G42 companies move more and more into from project based to more and more products that can scale internationally over the marketplace. So the concept of SaaS, agentic AI, things that can be repeated and sold and scaled to the thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers, as opposed to 2 or 3 big or large customers.
And I think listening to you explain all of that starts to give an appreciation for me and others listening on why you have a big team to manage this, because it really is multi-track, isn't it? There's so many things going on.
Like people say G42, they think it's one entity. No, it's actually tens of entities, and every one of those entities have a very unique nature. Some of them are publicly listed, some of them are privately listed, very different stakeholders that you deal with, different cultures. So we simplify it. We tell the story in a simple way, the G42 Microsoft partnership, but beneath the surface, it's much more complex, exciting, and engaging.
Very exciting.
Thank you.
Cherif, thank you so much for spending the time to take us through that today. That was really very interesting, and I think lots of people will be interested to listen to this and get an appreciation of how deep and broad that G42 Microsoft Alliance really is.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're watching Presight Presents AI Lunchtime Live, brought to you by Presight and Middle East AI News. You've just been watching my interview with 𝗠𝗶𝗱𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆𝗆 Alliance. And I have to say, it was a fascinating discussion. And if you missed it, you might be interested to know that this will be available as a recording on both LinkedIn and YouTube in half an hour or so's time. That's just about it for today's show. However, if you missed my earlier news recap, I'm going to revisit that right now because it's quite interesting stories. And among them, the big news today from 𝗓𝗏 and Sharuk have announced a $100 million AI fund. Abu Dhabi-based 𝗓𝗏 has joined forces with investment firm Sharuk to launch a $100 million global AI fund. The 𝗓𝗏 Sharuk Fund 1 will back startups mainly at pre-seed and seed stage globally, targeting sectors from smart cities to energy to fintech, Industry 4.0 and deep tech. But the differentiator here is that beyond capital, portfolio companies will also get access to 𝗓𝗏's infrastructure, their GPUs, their customers, and their global footprint. Likewise, Sharuk's international investment network will be able to help those startups as well, which extends across Middle East, North Africa, and Asia. Meanwhile, in Saudi Arabia, Modon will establish an AI center of excellence for industrial cities. In Riyadh this week, Modon, the Saudi Authority for Industrial Cities and Technology Zones, signed a tripartite agreement with ASAS and Takwin IT to establish an AI center of excellence